LeBron James plays games with everybody in the NBA world reacts. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Plus, Giannis Antetokounmpo not only talked with the Knicks in regards to a trade, but also explored other teams. We're going to talk a little bit about that as well. And the Thunder already lose a player before the season even starts. We're going to get into all that and more right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
What's going on, basketball fans? Welcome to another episode of NBA Central, your number one spot for everything basketball related. I'm the host, Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at NBA Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content today, y'all. LeBron James, he teased everyone yesterday with the decision, and today ended up being an ad for a partnership with Hennessy. That's what it ended up being. And the way that the basketball world has reacted to this has almost made it all worth it, right? Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, I speculated here. Other people speculated, what could this mean? Of course, the natural inclination to go to is, what does this have to do with it, with the possible retirement, with how old LeBron is and all that type of stuff. But unfortunately, yeah, don't even worry about it. LeBron James announced a partnership with Hennessy, and that's what that announcement was. And, people have the right to their own reactions from it. But I do think this, when LeBron is ready to retire, it's going to be an announcement. I think, I get it that we talked about it because you have to when something like that comes out. But for what it's worth, LeBron James was just asked about retirement only a few weeks ago, in which he talked about no. Like, it's not even something that he's willing to talk about yet, that he's really thinking about. And, you got to take him for what his word is. But, when LeBron James is ready to announce that, if he gets a farewell tour, so be it, right? He's a player that deserves it. And that's just really what it comes down to. But I just thought that was just fun and interesting. Got to start the show off with it. But let's get into actual basketball talk. So it did come out that Giannis Antetokounmpo actually considered a trade to the Knicks over the course of the season. That was over the course of the offseason. That was one of the places that Giannis was engaged in going. And reportedly, the Bucks and the Knicks engaged in conversations during a period of time in August, but the teams never really gained traction on the deal, is the way that it was reported. It did say that the Bucks believe New York didn't make a strong enough offer to even continue discussions. The process played out over multiple weeks and was described by one source as an exclusive negotiating window. The Knicks don't believe the Bucks were ever serious about considering an Antetokounmpo. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Why can't I say Giannis's name all of a sudden? I've been saying it right for years. Antetokounmpo. What? I know I'm saying it wrong. What is happening in my brain? Nonetheless, Giannis, they weren't serious about considering a trade for Giannis at that point. And so here's what it dates to, right? Giannis does not want to leave the Milwaukee Bucks. And I think it's a very simple thing as far as when Giannis, when the Bucks, I should say, made the moves that they did this offseason, it gave Giannis a hope that the Milwaukee Bucks are going to be able to do enough that he'll eventually feel comfortable where he is. But keep in mind, right? It's still something left up in air as far as, if the Bucks are going to be happy. And reportedly, Giannis, while he's happy in Milwaukee, and I think that if Giannis' whole career plays out with him staying in Milwaukee for his whole entire career, that's going to be what happens there, and he'll be perfectly fine with that. But it is a world in which, depending on how the Milwaukee Bucks compete, how they play, how disappointed he feels in the season, what it feels like to play with the team that they have. We know that Giannis can go into a different level, in different gear. He's a former MVP. He can play at an MVP level. But if through playing at that level, it leads to a season where, Giannis plays at a great level, but, maybe the Milwaukee Bucks still don't make it out the first round. Is that something that would be enough to leave that? And that's what you're seeing, right? The Milwaukee Bucks, engage in talks with the Knicks, to me just says the Knicks are going to always be interested. But per the report, the Knicks didn't necessarily feel like it was a serious trade talk. And why would you put your best offer forward? I mean, the Knicks already only have one first-round pick that they can offer regardless, right? After trading away so many for Miles Bridges and Karl Anthony Towns, the contract matching part isn't the bad part about it at all. But you would think if the Bucks do eventually come to a place where Giannis asks Antetokounmpo. Yes, there you go, Antetokounmpo. I knew I could say it. But if you get to a place where Giannis eventually does request a trade because of the state of the team or anything else, then it is what it is. I think that they will. I think that the Knicks may put together a more firm offer. but I also think teams are going to be willing to give up a lot of picks to get Giannis. And so, the New York Knicks are going to always try to land a star. They're the Knicks. They're always going to try to land that. And I do think it's something to be said that is a team that did entice Giannis as well. Pairing with Jalen Brunson, I'm sure they would have kept Karl-Anthony Towns there. Like, it would have instantly been one of the best teams that Giannis has ever played on, right? Instantly. He makes that team better. But, I do think it's going to take a long inward look for Giannis to really, say, hey, the time in Milwaukee has come to an end. It's no longer looking like I'm going to be able to win or win at the level that I want to at the end of my career here. And we're going to go forward and figure that out. So we'll see, right? Giannis, could have a long career still left ahead of him. And, we're talking about playing 5+ more years for Giannis, right? And so if that ends up happening and he wants to compete in that level, him finding a team that feels like it's going to give him the best chance to compete, that's his right. And we'll see how that shakes out. So let me know what you guys think on that down below. From that, to a player that just can't get going, man, Nikola Topić, after losing his entirety of his rookie year already, right, set out the entire with an ACL injury. It seems like he now had another testicular procedure that's going to leave him out 4 to 6 weeks that he had on Monday. And this is really unfortunate for a player that's on a team as deep as the Thunder and could provide them a secondary ball handler on that bench that could come up and be a point guard for that team. And not to say that they're necessarily missing that aspect, but it can always help, right? And you're missing developmental reps, developmental time. You're missing all of that. Now, Topić is only 20 years old. He has hopefully a very long NBA career ahead of him. But for you to already lose the entirety of what's supposed to be your rookie year due to ACL injury, which now Thomas Sorber's doing as well, it just seems like that's a thing with the OKC Thunder. And now to miss 4 to 6 weeks, potentially, and miss the first month of what's supposed to be your second season, it just sucks. And typically when you see guys that keep having major injuries, it's kind of hard to get that momentum back going. Now, it's happened before. And, when you look at these injuries, people make full recovery from ACLs now. Testicular surgery, depending on what it is and the severity of it, he'll make a full recovery. So it doesn't stand to be anything right now that you're looking at, like limiting whatever cap that you had for him, but just missing this developmental time and this time that you could be out on the basketball court, adjusting to the speed of the game, the physicality of the NBA game, all these things that you're missing. It sucks. But luckily, it's not a full season injury, so he will be able to get back on the court sooner rather than later, and we'll see how that's going to shake out for him. But the OKC Thunder just keep having issues with rookies and injuries. It just seems to be a thing that keeps happening there, but we'll see how that works out for them. Let me know what you guys think on that down below. Cooper Flagg, we got to see him playing last night. And listen, Cooper Flagg has such a well-rounded game that it was always going to be interesting to see how did he look in his first NBA minutes. Now, for what it's worth, he didn't play a whole lot. But for a player that didn't play a whole lot, it did seem like he was able to get whatever shot that he wanted to. He handled the ball in the pick and roll really well, right? And that he did some solid things in that. After the game, he said this. That's the thing that we worked on a lot this summer. I said earlier today, just being comfortable expanding the floor, using the space that this bigger court gives you, just utilizing that to my advantage, and just being comfortable coming off those pick and rolls, being ready to knock down open shots. And we'll see, right? Like Cooper Flagg is going to spend a lot of time at either forward role this upcoming season. And seeing what he did in this game, man, 14 minutes, he scored 10 points, he had a plus-minus of +10, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block. Cooper Flagg displayed just about that well-roundedness of his game, that Swiss Army knife part of his game that you want to see. He displayed every single bit of that, right? And so the fit there, the fact that, their starters played, Cooper Flagg, Anthony Davis, Derek Lively, D'Angelo Russell, Klay Thompson, they all played. They all played about 15 to 16 minutes respectively. And so you're getting a feel for them out there. PJ Washington scored 14 points off the bench as well to lead that team in scoring. And so preseason minutes are always weird, but for what it's worth, Cooper Flagg took the time that he did play, and he looked pretty damn good doing it. And so, there's going to be a lot of excitement around what Cooper can be this season. And because he is joining a team that does have talent around it and does have expectations, can they get into the playoffs this year? That's going to be the question here, and how much that helps propel and get Caleb Williams continue to be ready for the season. Now, a guy that I talked about that we're going to do an episode that'll drop tomorrow, Thursday morning, in which me and JB are going to discuss all of our preseason predictions for awards, MVP, most improved player, sixth man of the year, all that type of thing, right? And one of the players that I have on my list that I think is going to have a great season, had an amazing season last year, was Cade Cunningham. Now, unfortunately, he's on the rival of my team, and he's on the Detroit Pistons, which, as a Chicago Bulls fan, rooting for the Pistons is something that I can never do. But I can acknowledge a player that is on that precipice of becoming a superstar, and that's what Cade Cunningham is. If you ask me today, a player that could be an unexpected MVP, I would say that every once in a while you have that MVP that, of course, people go back and say, they shouldn't have won MVP that season. And Cade Cunningham is on a team in the Eastern Conference with the Detroit Pistons that I seriously do think, while the Knicks and the Cavs should be favored to have the best record in the Eastern Conference, the Pistons are a team that's right there and can compete for that. And Cade Cunningham, in that game against the Memphis Grizzlies on Monday, put on a show. In 19 minutes, 20 points, going 8 of 11 from the field, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 steals in that game. He was plus 10 overall in that game, and his team won that game by 16 points. And so that was looking good. They played their starters out there. They look good. The balance out there between those guys still looks really good as well. No Jalen Duren in that game yet, so there you go on that one. But this is a Pistons team that I'm not picking to win a title or anything. But if you're talking about a team that can disrupt their conference and that by their play they can do something unexpected this year, I think the Detroit Pistons are right there, ready, and we'll see what happens. They've been steadily improving, right? And so now you look at where they are, a team that I like I said, would not be surprised if they win 50 games this season, especially in a more open Eastern Conference. I would not be surprised at that at all. So we'll see what that shakes out, how Cade Cunningham plays this season. But yeah, that's my time, y'all. Make sure you guys are following us at NBA Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, NBA Central Show at gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything basketball related. And like I like to end every episode on, I'll catch you guys on the next one and see you guys the next time I feel like making a video. Probably tomorrow, maybe tonight, depending on how these preseason games go tonight. The Bulls do play, so don't necessarily bet on it, but you never know. Love you guys. See y'all later. Love basketball. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.